Have you ever held a coin in your hand and thought it was just worth 25 cents? Well, think again. Some Washington quarter-dollar coins are hiding shocking secrets. Coins that look completely ordinary but could explode in value to thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. From rare minting errors to limited editions that collectors would fight to own, these coins are the silent treasures of American history. Today, we're diving deep into the most jaw-dropping quarters ever made. Coins that could transform your pocket change into pure gold. You won't believe what's hiding inside a simple 1997 Washington quarter-dollar coin. That small silver-colored coin you might have tossed into a vending machine or dropped into a jar could actually be worth thousands of dollars, even up to $10,000 or more in rare conditions. It's hard to imagine that something minted just a few decades ago could hold such shocking value. But collectors across America are now racing to uncover the truth behind this mysterious 1997 quarter. At first glance, it looks just like any other quarter. George Washington's proud face on one side and the bold eagle design on the reverse. But under that ordinary appearance hides a variety of mistakes, minting quirks, and hidden treasures that have turned this coin into a collector's obsession. The 1997 quarter was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco. And each of these can tell a completely different story when it comes to rarity and value. Let's start with the most common, the Philadelphia 1997 quarter. Millions were produced, but not all are created equal. Some of these quarters were struck using worn-out dies, causing faint images, double lettering, or misaligned strikes. These small imperfections, called mint errors, are what drive coin collectors crazy, because a single error can multiply the coin's value by thousands. Imagine finding a 1997 quarter with a double die obverse, where Washington's face or lettering appears slightly doubled. Those coins can fetch between $1,000 and $3,000, depending on condition and visibility of the error. But the real shockers often come from the Denver Mint. The 1997 D quarters are known for their clean strikes, but a few slip through the presses with jaw-dropping mistakes like off-center strikes, broad strikes, or even clipped planchets where a portion of the metal is missing. One 1997 D quarter with an extreme off-center strike sold for over $5,000 at auction. Just think about that. A coin most people ignore suddenly becoming worth more than a brand new MacBook. Now, here's where it gets even more unbelievable. The 1997 S-proof quarter. These were specially made for collectors, struck with a mirror-like shine and deep frosted details. Most are worth only a few dollars, but there's a twist. Some proof coins were struck with wrong planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted on metal mint for another denomination. One such quarter was struck on a dime planchet, making it lighter and smaller, and it shocked the coin world when it sold for nearly $12,000. That's right. A 25-cent coin bringing 5 figures simply because of a minting mistake. Even more incredible are the toned quarters, coins that developed natural rainbow colors over time due to oxidation. Collectors pay massive premiums for coins with vibrant blue, purple, or golden hues. A 1997 quarter with gorgeous rainbow toning once sold for $1,500 simply because of its beautiful natural color pattern. That means your old coin, sitting in a drawer, could secretly be a work of art. Another fascinating thing about the 1997 quarter is how grading affects its worth. In ordinary circulated condition, it might be worth 25 cents or maybe 50 cents. But if it's uncirculated, meaning it has never been used and still shines like new, the value skyrockets. A 1997 D quarter graded MS-68, that's near perfection. Once sold for an incredible $4,200. And experts believe that if a flawless MS-70 example were to surface, it could break the $10,000 mark easily. That's the power of perfection in coin collecting. Now, let's talk about hidden varieties, the kind that even experienced collectors miss. There are reports of 1997 quarters with doubled mint marks, misplaced dates, or die cracks running through the words Liberty or In God We Trust. These rare varieties are extremely desirable and can push the price into the thousands. Every little scratch, shift, or line can make the difference between a pocket change coin and a museum-worthy treasure. Imagine finding one of these in a roll of quarters from your local bank, or even in your old change jar. It has happened many times before. A man from California found a 1997 D quarter with a partial collar error while sorting his change. He sold it for $2,800 online. Another collector in Texas found a proof-like 1997 P quarter that graded at MS-69, selling for nearly $3,500. These real-life stories show that the jackpot could literally be sitting in your pocket. It's also worth noting that 1997 was the last full year before the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999, which makes it a historical transition piece. Collectors love coins that mark the end of an era, and the 1997 quarter represents the closing chapter of the classic Washington design before America's most famous commemorative quarter series began. But here's the real shocker. While most people focus on the newer state quarters, the pre-1999 coins like the 1997 editions are becoming harder to find in perfect condition. Circulation has worn most of them down, and mint-sealed rolls are drying up fast. That scarcity means values are rising every single year. Some collectors are hoarding high-grade examples now, expecting them to double or triple in price over the next decade. So, next time you come across a shiny 1997 quarter, don't overlook it. Look closely at the details, the mint mark, the lettering, the edges, even the color. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. What might seem like an ordinary coin could be your golden ticket to thousands of dollars. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, or proof-like surfaces. If it looks special, it probably is. Think about it. You could literally turn 25 cents into a month's salary, or even a small fortune, with just one lucky find. That's the magic and mystery of the 1997 Washington $quarter coin. It's a coin that proves that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't buried deep underground. They're jingling right in your pocket. If you thought the 1997 quarter was mind-blowing, wait until you hear about the 1970 Washington $quarter coin, a coin that has left collectors absolutely stunned. This little piece of metal, often hiding unnoticed in old change jars, has been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Believe it or not, one rare variety of this coin sold for over $35,000. And when you find out why, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. At first glance, the 1970 quarter looks just like any other. The same iconic George Washington profile, the word Liberty at the top, and In God We Trust proudly stamped. But here's where things get electrifying. Some of these coins were struck under the most unusual circumstances, creating errors and varieties that the U.S. Mint never intended to exist. These secret mistakes are now legendary among collectors, turning ordinary-looking coins into once-in-a-lifetime treasures. Let's start with the most shocking example, the 1970 S-proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you read that right. A handful of 1970 S-quarters were accidentally struck over older Canadian coins, and when magnified, you can actually see traces of the old Canadian design underneath the U.S. design. This is one of the most unbelievable minting blunders in American coin history. One of these ultra-rare coins sold for an earth-shattering $35,000 at auction, instantly making it one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever discovered. But that's just one mystery. The 1970 S-proof quarters in general are highly collectible because they were never released into circulation. They were made for collectors with mirror-like surfaces and sharp, frosted details. However, not all proof coins are created equal. Some 1970 S-proofs show subtle double-die obverse varieties, where you can see a faint doubling on the lettering Liberty or In God We Trust. These are extremely rare, and when certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, they can command prices anywhere between $1,000 and $4,000, depending on the strength of the doubling. Now, let's talk about the 1970 D Washington quarter, which has its own world of valuable secrets. While millions were minted in Denver, only a few escaped with dramatic mint errors. One famous type is the off-center strike, where the design is visibly shifted. Depending on how much of the design is missing, these can sell for $500 to $2,000. Then there's the broad strike error, which happens when the retaining collar fails to hold the coin properly, creating a wider than usual coin. Collectors have paid up to $1,500 for perfect examples. But the crown jewel among Denver minted coins is the double die reverse, where the eagle's wings and lettering show a faint but visible doubling. This rare variety can shoot the coin's value into the thousands. Some high-grade 1970 D quarters with sharp doubling and full luster have sold for $3,000 to $6,000. Even the ordinary-looking 1970 P Philadelphia quarters can shock you. Some of them were struck slightly off planchet, creating light, missing edges or incomplete lettering. These unique quirks can make collectors bid competitively, with prices ranging from $200 for minor errors to $2,000 for the most dramatic ones. It's wild how something the average person would overlook can end up being a rare prize worth more than gold per ounce. But there's another twist to the 1970 story: the tone quarters. Over time, some coins developed stunning color tones, ranging from deep blues and purples to golden hues. These naturally toned coins are highly sought after by collectors because each one is unique, almost like nature's artwork. One gorgeous 1970 S-proof quarter with intense rainbow toning was sold for $1,800, purely because of its spectacular color pattern. That's the beauty of numismatics. Sometimes beauty and rarity go hand in hand. Let's not forget the grading factor, because it can turn an ordinary 25-cent coin into a small fortune. A regular 1970 quarter in your pocket might only be worth face value. But if it's uncirculated, shining with no scratches or wear, it could be worth $50 to $100 easily. Now, take that same coin in a mint state 67 or 68 grade, and you're looking at auction prices climbing up to $1,000 or more. And if a perfect MS-70 example were ever discovered, experts believe it could reach over $10,000 instantly. That's the power of condition. Perfection always commands a premium. The 1970 quarter is also a coin of transition. The world was changing. Silver coins had already disappeared a few years earlier, and the mint was refining its production techniques. As a result, minor differences between dies, strikes, and finishes can create collectible varieties. Some 1970 quarters show weak strikes, where parts of the eagle's feathers are faint, or die cracks, where thin raised lines appear due to pressure during minting. These unique details make every coin a little different. And for collectors, that's gold. Collectors are especially crazy about error combinations, like a 1970 D quarter with both off-center strike and die crack. Those combo errors can reach $3,000 to $5,000 at auction. And here's the wildest part. These coins are still out there. Every few months, someone posts a shocking discovery online. A coin they found in an old jar, a coin roll, or even pocket change. That turns out to be worth a small fortune. Imagine finding one of these while checking your change at a store. That's exactly what happened to one lucky collector in Florida who found a slightly off-center 1970 quarter that later graded at MS-68, selling for over $2,400. Another person discovered a rare proof error coin inherited from a family member and sold it for $6,000. These aren't just stories. They're real-life examples of hidden value waiting to be found. So, the next time you see a 1970 Washington $quarter coin, don't let it slip through your fingers. Check it carefully, the mint mark that details the surfaces and the weight. Look for any doubling, discoloration, or unusual features. You never know when you might be staring at one of the most valuable error coins in U.S. history. The 1970 Washington quarter is not just an old coin. It's a time capsule of minting mysteries, historical shifts, and shocking rarities. It's proof that even the smallest, simplest piece of metal can hold stories worth thousands of dollars. And for those who take the time to look closer, it might just deliver the surprise of a lifetime. You might think coins from the 1980s aren't old enough to be valuable yet, but the 1980 Washington $quarter coin is here to prove everyone wrong. This simple 25-cent coin, still commonly found in circulation, has shocked collectors around the world with rare varieties worth thousands of dollars. Some examples have sold for as high as $10,000 to $15,000, and others with extraordinary minting errors have reached even higher at auction. The truth is, the 1980 quarter might be the most underestimated treasure sitting in your pocket right now. The 1980 Washington quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. But this year marked something special. It was the first time Philadelphia quarters carried a visible P mint mark, a historic change in U.S. coinage. That tiny letter alone makes the 1980 P quarter an iconic starting point for modern collectors. But there's more, a lot more, hiding beneath the surface. Let's begin with the 1980 P quarter, the first of its kind to show the P. Millions were produced, but a few of them came out with jaw-dropping minting errors. Some were struck off-center, where the image appears shifted. Others showed double designs, where the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear twice. A clear double die obverse 1980 P quarter can fetch between $1,500 and $4,000, depending on the sharpness of the doubling and the coin's condition. And an ultra-rare off-center example sold for $6,500, simply because half of Washington's face was missing from the strike, turning a mistake into money. But even normal coins from this year can carry surprising value if they're in pristine condition. For instance, an MS-68 graded 1980 P quarter, meaning it's nearly flawless, once sold for an eye-popping $4,250 at auction. That's thousands of dollars for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. Experts believe that if an MS-69 or MS-70 ever surfaces, its value could break the $10,000 mark, simply due to rarity. Now let's shift to the 1980 D Washington quarter struck in Denver. These coins are famous for their bright luster and crisp details, but a few escaped with shocking minting flaws. The clip planchet error is one of the most eye-catching. Part of the coin's edge is literally missing because it was punched out of the metal sheet incorrectly. These coins can sell from $500 for small clips up to $2,500 for large, dramatic clips. Another rare type is the broad strike, where the coin's rim expands outward, making it look larger than normal. These typically go for $800 to $1,500, depending on grade and centering. Even more shocking are double denomination errors, where a coin is struck over another coin. For instance, a quarter struck over a dime planchet. One such 1980 D error sold for an astonishing $10,000 because it perfectly displayed traces of both denominations. It's a mind-blowing reminder that mistakes inside the U.S. Mint can turn everyday change into fortune-level finds. Now, let's talk about the 1980 S-proof quarters. These were specially struck for collectors, using polished dies and specially prepared planchets, creating mirror-like finishes. Normally, these coins are worth only a few dollars, but when they come with rare varieties or toning, the value can skyrocket. For example, a proof coin with rainbow or deep blue toning once sold for $1,200, simply because of its stunning natural colors. Even among proof coins, some show incredible minting errors, like missing letters, filled mint marks, or doubled features on the reverse eagle. A single 1980 S-proof with a strong double die reverse sold for $2,800, while another with missing design details fetched $3,100. These rare proof errors prove that even modern coins can hold jaw-dropping value when something unusual happens during minting. Another factor that makes the 1980 quarter exciting is the metal composition. Unlike earlier quarters made of silver, the 1980 quarter is composed of copper and nickel, but collectors value certain examples that display unusual colors or weight. A few have surfaced struck on foreign planchets, likely leftover blanks from other coin series, making them lighter or differently toned. These strange anomalies have sold anywhere between $1,000 and $7,000, depending on how unique the strike is. Now here's the fun part. Some collectors have reported finding 1980 quarters that look proof-like, even though they were not officially proofs. These are called PL, proof-like, or DMPL, deep mirror proof-like, coins. Their surfaces shine like mirrors, and they reflect light dramatically. These special coins, if graded and verified, can command huge premiums. A 1980 DPL quarter in MS68 condition once brought in $3,900 at auction. There's also a growing craze around toned circulation coins, especially from the 1980s. Because of decades of exposure to air, humidity, and different metals, some 1980 quarters have developed breathtaking rainbow hues. Collectors are going wild for these natural color patterns, sometimes paying 10 to 50 times face value. One stunning example with deep orange, purple, and blue hues fetched $1,800. It's not just about rarity. It's about visual appeal and uniqueness. And let's not forget the stories of ordinary people who discovered their fortunes by accident. In one case, a man sorting through his late father's coin jar found a 1980 D quarter with a massive offsetter strike. It sold for $3,700. Another collector found a pristine 1980 P quarter with full luster and no scratches, grading it at MS68, and later sold it for over $4,000. These stories prove that even coins from your childhood can hold shocking, life-changing potential. What makes the 1980 Washington quarter so fascinating is how it represents a bridge between old and modern U.S. coinage. It's a product of precise modern minting. Yet even in that high-tech environment, human and mechanical errors still slipped through, producing some of the rarest, most valuable modern quarters ever found. So, if you come across a 1980 quarter, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Examine every detail carefully. The mint mark, the lettering, the edges, and both sides under good lighting. Look for doubling, cracks, unusual colors, or off-center designs. Even a tiny mistake can mean the difference between 25 cents and thousands of dollars. The 1980 Washington quarter dollar is proof that not all treasures are ancient. Some are modern miracles. From the very first mint mark to wild minting errors to proof coins with stunning toning, this coin carries surprises that few people expect.